Jake Morrison sat at his desk on the space station and looked at the files in front of him. Something was very wrong. He had been working for the Space Academy for 10 years, and he had never seen anything like this before. The files were about new students who had just finished their training. Every year, hundreds of young people came to the academy to learn how to work in space. They studied science, engineering, and how to fly spaceships. Most students did okay. Some did very well. But this year, one student had done something impossible. Jake picked up the strange file and read it again. The student's number was 7743 Delta. That was all. No real name, no home address. No family information, nothing about where she came from or who she was. But her test scores were perfect. Not just good or very good. Perfect. In everything, she had taken 47 different tests. She got the highest score possible on all of them. She knew more about rocket engines than students who had studied them for years. She could solve math problems that even the teachers found difficult. She understood alien languages that the Academy had just started teaching last month. Jake rubbed his eyes and looked at the scores again. In the history test, she had written about events that happened before humans even left Earth. In the science test, she had explained ideas that most professors didn't understand. In the flying test, she had completed courses that usually took months to finish. But the strangest thing was the combat training. The Academy used computer programs to test how students would fight in space battles. These programs were very hard. Most students failed many times before they got better. This student had never failed, not once. The computer said she had completed fights that the Academy had never even created. Jake called his boss, Captain Lisa Grant. She came to his office 20 minutes later. Lisa was a smart woman who had been in space for 15 years. She had seen many strange things, but when Jake showed her the file, her face went white. "This can't be right," Lisa said. She picked up the file and read it carefully. "Look at this. She took a test about fixing broken spaceship engines, but we don't teach that class anymore. We stopped teaching it 5 years ago." Jake nodded. "Look at this one. She took a test about talking to aliens, but we just started that class last week. How could she take a test for a class that just began?" Lisa sat down in the chair next to Jake's desk. "Maybe someone made a mistake with the computer system. Maybe the files got mixed up." "Thought that too," Jake said. "So I checked everything. I called the computer center. I talked to the test makers. Even looked at the old files from last year. Everything says the same thing. Student 7743 Delta exists, but she doesn't exist." Lisa looked confused. "What do you mean?" Jake turned on his computer screen. "Watch this. I'll search for her in the student list." He typed in the student number. The computer showed her test scores, her class schedule, and her meal card information. The computer knows all about her. But now watch this. He clicked on a different program. This is the official student database. Every student who comes to the academy gets put in here. He typed in the same number. The screen showed nothing. According to this, she was never here. "That's impossible," Lisa said. "Every student has to register. They have to pay money. They have to show their identification papers. They have to get a room to sleep in." Jake laughed. But it wasn't a happy laugh. "I know, so I called the housing office. They said room 247B has been empty all year. But the meal center says someone with student number 7743 Delta eats there every day. Library says she checks out books. The gym says she uses the equipment." Lisa stood up and walked around the small office. "What about the other students? Do they know her?" "That's the really strange part," Jake said. He pulled out another file. "I talked to 12 students who were in her classes. They all remember her. They say she was very smart and very helpful. Some of them called her Maya. Others called her Claire. A few called her Sam. Different names." "Yes. And when I asked them to describe her, they gave me different answers. One student said she had long black hair. Another said she had short brown hair. One said she was tall. Another said she was short. It's like they were talking about different people." Lisa sat back down. "Maybe there's more than one person using that student number." Jake shook his head. "I thought that too. so I looked at the security cameras. He turned his computer screen toward Lisa. This is from the dining hall last Tuesday. The video showed students eating lunch. Jake pointed to one table. There she is. Lisa looked at the screen. She saw a young woman sitting alone, reading a book while she ate. The woman looked normal. She had medium-length brown hair and wore the same uniform as all the other students. She looks like a regular student, Lisa said. Keep watching, Jake said. He fast-forwarded the video. This is from the same day, 3 hours later, in the library. The video showed the same woman, but now she had long blonde hair and wore different clothes. Lisa stared at the screen. It's not possible. People can't change their hair that fast. And this is from yesterday in the engineering lab. Jake showed another video. The woman now had short red hair and looked completely different. But somehow Lisa knew it was the same person. I don't understand this, Lisa said quietly. Jake closed the video files. Neither do I. But it gets worse. Yesterday I tried to find her. I went to all her classes. I checked her room. I looked in the dining hall and the library. Nothing. It's like she just disappeared. Maybe she left the academy. That's what I thought. But this morning, her meal card was used in the dining hall. Someone checked out 3 books from the library using her student number. And the computer shows she took a test in advanced physics this afternoon. Lisa was quiet for a long time. She looked at the files, then at Jake, then at the files again. Jake, what if this person isn't really a student? What do you mean? What if she's something else? Someone who doesn't want to be found but wants to learn everything we teach? Jake felt cold, like a spy. Maybe something stranger. Lisa picked up the file again. Look at these test scores, Jake. No human should be able to do this well on everything. And look at this. She pointed to one of the test results. This test was about alien technology, but we don't have any alien technology. We've never even met aliens. How could she answer questions about something that doesn't exist? Jake looked at the test results. Lisa was right. The test asked about alien ship engines, alien computer systems, and alien weapons. Student 7743 Delta had answered every question perfectly, but the Academy had made up those questions. They were just guessing what alien technology might look like. Lisa, Jake said slowly, what if she answered those questions correctly because she actually knows about alien technology? They both sat in silence, thinking about what that could mean. Outside the office window, Earth turned slowly in the darkness of space, and somewhere on the Academy station, a student who didn't exist was learning secrets that humans weren't supposed to know. Jake Morrison could not sleep that night. He kept thinking about the mysterious student and her impossible test scores. The next morning, he called Captain Lisa Grant and asked her to meet him in his office. When she arrived, Jake had 3 new people with him. Lisa, I want you to meet Commander Rick Davis from Intelligence and Dr. Kate Phillips from the Records Department. I also asked Dr. Ben Clark from Computer Security to help us. Lisa shook hands with everyone. Why do we need so many people for one missing student? Jake looked serious, because I found something much bigger than one student. Show them, Kate. Phillips opened her laptop computer. I spent all night looking through old Academy records. I found similar cases going back 25 years. She showed them a list on her screen. Look at this. Every few years we get a student who passes everything but doesn't officially exist. How many? Lisa asked. 15 cases. All with perfect test scores. All with no real identity. All disappeared without explanation. Commander Davis leaned forward. I made some phone calls to my contacts in intelligence. This problem isn't just at the Academy. Similar reports come from research stations, military bases, and space colonies all over human space. Dr. Clark pulled out his own computer. I checked our security systems going back 10 years. Look at this. He showed them a video from the Academy's hallways. This is from 3 years ago. The video showed a cleaning woman working late at night in restricted areas of the station. Jake looked closely at the screen. That's her. That's the same person as student 7743 Delta. But she looks exactly the same, Lisa said. People age in 3 years. She hasn't changed at all. Dr. Clark switched to another video. This is from 7 years ago. Security camera from the engineering section. Again, the same woman appeared, this time wearing a maintenance uniform and carrying tools. Still the same? Jake whispered. And this, Dr. Clark continued, is from 15 years ago. Supply ship docking at the station. The video showed workers unloading boxes. In the background, the same woman walked past carrying a datapad. Lisa felt her hand shaking. That's impossible. She would be at least 35 years old now, but she still looks 20. Dr. Phillips cleared her throat. It gets stranger. I found records from other space facilities. Mining Station Alpha 7 reported a technical advisor. With no official credentials, who solved their power problems 5 years ago, the advisor's description matches our mysterious student. Commander Davis opened his own files. Mars Colony had similar reports. An unnamed researcher provided breakthrough formulas that ended their food shortage crisis. Lunabase reported a civilian contractor who prevented a nuclear reactor explosion. All descriptions match the same person. Jake sat down heavily. In his chair, so she's been helping humans all over space for years, maybe decades. But who is she? Dr. Clark pulled up more security footage. I found something interesting. Watch this. The video showed the woman walking through a restricted laboratory. She moved directly to a specific computer terminal without looking around or checking any signs. She knows exactly where to go, Lisa observed. Yes, and look at this, Dr. Clark showed another video. She's accessing files that require high-level security clearance. But according to our records, no one was logged into that terminal at that time. Dr. Phillips added, I cross-referenced all the incidents. Every time she appears, something important happens for human advancement. New technology gets developed. Problems get solved. Disasters get prevented. Commander Davis looked worried. My intelligence sources found something else. Historical records show similar mysterious helpers appearing during key moments in human space exploration. The first successful faster than light. Doctor had input from an anonymous consultant. The breakthrough that made Mars. Colonization possible came from an unknown scientist. The peace treaty that ended the asteroid mining wars was negotiated by a diplomatic advisor who vanished after the signing. Jake felt cold. How long has this been going on? Based on what I've found, Davis said, at least 50 years, maybe longer. Lisa stood up and walked to the window that looked out at Earth. So we have someone who has been secretly helping humanity for decades. Someone who doesn't age. Someone who can access any computer system and go anywhere she wants. The question is why? Dr. Clark pulled up one more file. I found something that might give us a clue. Yesterday, after student 7743 Delta disappeared, she left something behind. He showed them a message that appeared on one of the Academy's computers. The message was short. The test isn't over. Humanity's real examination begins when the architects arrive. Everyone was quiet. Finally, Jake spoke. Architects? What architects? I don't know, Dr. Clark said. Gosh. But the message appeared on a computer that requires 3 different security codes to access. Only 5 people in the entire academy have those codes, and none of them were near that computer when the message appeared. Commander Davis looked at his notes. I think we need to consider the possibility that she's not human. Lisa turned around. From the window? What do you mean? Think about it. She doesn't age. She knows technology that humans haven't developed yet. She can access any computer system. She appears and disappears without leaving traces. And now she's talking about architects and humanity being tested. Dr. Phillips nodded slowly. That would explain how she knows so much about alien technology? Maybe she is alien technology? Jake shook his head. But she's been helping us. If she was an enemy, why would she solve our problems and advance our science? Maybe, Lisa said quietly. She's preparing us for something. Dr. Clark pulled up. The message again, she said. The real examination begins when the architects arrive. What if the architects are coming to test humanity? What if she's been preparing us for that test? Commander Davis stood up. I need to report this to High Command immediately. If we're about to face some kind of examination by unknown aliens, the government needs to know. Wait, Jake said. What if reporting this is the wrong move? What if she's been working in secret? For a reason? Maybe the test requires us to figure things out on our own. Dr. Phillips looked at her computer screen. Or something else. I've been tracking the pattern of her appearances. They're getting more frequent. 5 years ago, she appeared every few months. 2 years ago, every few weeks. This year, almost every week? Like she's running out of time, Lisa said. Dr. Clark nodded, like whatever she's preparing us for is getting closer. Jake looked at each person in the room. Do we report this to the government? Do we wait and see what happens? Commander Davis checked his watch. I think we should do all three. I'll contact my superiors and tell them we have a potential first contact situation. Kate, you keep digging through the records and see if you can find more patterns. Ben, you monitor all our computer systems for any new messages or activities. Jake and Lisa, you try to predict where she might appear next. Lisa turned back to the window. And if we find her, then we ask her the important questions, Davis said. Who are the architects? When are they coming? What kind of test is humanity about to face? As the meeting ended, Jake looked out. At the stars beyond Earth, somewhere out there, aliens called architects were coming to test humanity, and somewhere much closer. A woman who didn't exist was preparing them for an examination they didn't even know they would have to take. The next few weeks would determine whether humanity was ready for whatever was coming. Jake just hoped they would have enough time to prepare. 3 months passed after the mysterious student disappeared from the academy. Jake Morrison had been promoted to head the new First Contact Division. It was a job he never wanted, but the government created it specifically for him after Commander. Davis reported their findings about the woman who didn't exist. Jake was sitting in his new office on Luna Base when the alarm started screaming. Red lights flashed throughout the station. His computer screen showed an emergency message. Unknown vessels detected at the edge of solar system. All military personnel report to stations immediately. Jake ran to the command center. Lisa Grant was already there, along with Admiral Frank Cooper, the head of all human space forces. The main screen showed a view of space near Pluto. 12 enormous ships hung motionless in the darkness. Each ship was larger than any human space station. How long have they been there? Jake asked. They appeared 20 minutes ago, Lisa said. No warning. No engine signatures. They just suddenly existed. Admiral Cooper looked worried. We've tried to communicate with them. No response to any of our radio signals. They're just sitting there, waiting. Dr. Kate Phillips ran into the command center carrying her laptop. Admiral, I've been monitoring all our computer systems like you asked. 5 minutes ago, every computer connected to our communication network received the same message. What kind of message? Cooper asked. Kate opened her laptop and showed them the screen. The message was simple, but frightening. Greetings, species designation human. We are the Architect Coalition. You have reached the point in your development where evaluation is required. Prepare for testing protocols. Jake felt his stomach drop. The architects. She warned us they were coming. Admiral Cooper turned to Jake. You mean your mysterious woman? The one with no identity? Yes, sir. She left a message saying humanity's real examination would begin when the architects arrived. Disappointed at the main screen? Well, they're here now. What do we do? Before anyone could answer, all the screens in the command center changed. A new image appeared, not from their cameras, but somehow transmitted directly into their systems. The image showed a tall, thin creature with silver skin and large dark eyes. When it spoke, the words appeared as text while a mechanical voice. Read them aloud. I'm Coordinator Zeph9 of the Architect Coalition. We represent 12 advanced species who maintain order in this sector of the galaxy. Your species has reached technological maturity. According to our laws, you must now be evaluated for membership in our civilization or quarantined to your home. System? Admiral Cooper stepped forward. This is Admiral Cooper of the Human Space Command. We request formal diplomatic contact to discuss these evaluations. The alien's image didn't change expression. Diplomacy is not relevant. The evaluation process is standard for all developing species. You have one solar rotation cycle to demonstrate competency in 5 areas: advanced physics mastery, biological adaptation capability, artificial intelligence ethics, resource management efficiency, conflict resolution protocols. Jake moved closer to the screen. What happens if we pass your tests? Species that demonstrate adequate competency are granted limited membership in the coalition. You gain access to basic interstellar trade and approved technologies. And if we fail? Lisa asked. Species that fail evaluation are quarantined to their birth system permanently. This is for the protection of established civilizations. Dr. Phillips whispered to Jake. He's not telling us everything. Look at how careful his words are. Admiral, Cooper asked, how many species have passed these evaluations? For the first time, the alien paused. 67% achieve basic competency and survive. Survive, Cooper said. What happens to the other 33%? Species that demonstrate dangerous incompetency are eliminated to prevent future threats to galactic stability. The command center became very quiet. Jake realized that humanity wasn't just being tested for membership in some galactic club. They were being tested for the right to continue existing. When did the tests begin? Cooper asked. Immediately. Our first evaluation concerns your physics understanding. The alien's image changed to show complex mathematical equations. You have 6 local hours to provide working solutions to these theoretical problems. Your answers will determine if testing continues or if immediate elimination protocols are activated. The screen went black. Admiral Cooper turned to his staff. Get every physicist, engineer, and mathematician on Luna Base here immediately. Contact Earth, Mars, and all the colonies. We need our best minds working on this right now. As people ran to follow Cooper's orders, Jake noticed something strange. Dr. Clark from Computer Security was staring at his tablet with a confused expression. What is it, Ben? Jake asked. These equations the alien showed us, Clark said. I've seen them before. What do you mean? Clark turned his tablet toward Jake. 3 weeks ago, an anonymous user uploaded files to our research database. The files contained theoretical physics papers with these exact equations. At the time, we thought it was just advanced research from one of our universities. Lisa looked at the tablet. Our mysterious woman again? It has to be, Jake said. She's been preparing us for these specific tests. Dr. Phillips was checking her own computer. Jake, you need to see this. I'm finding uploaded files in multiple areas that match what the aliens are testing. Has been quietly placing the answers to these tests in our systems for months. Admiral Cooper overheard their conversation. Are you telling me that this woman who doesn't exist somehow knew exactly what questions these aliens would ask? Yes, sir, Jake said. And she's been making sure we have the knowledge to answer them. Over the next 6 hours, human scientists worked frantically on the physics problems. But every time they got stuck, someone would find an anonymous research paper or a mysteriously uploaded file that provided the breakthrough they needed. By the deadline, humanity had solved every equation perfectly. Coordinator Zeph9 appeared. On their screens again, his expression seemed surprised. Your physics solutions are ... adequate. Testing will continue. Next evaluation. Biological adaptation. You must demonstrate your species' ability to survive in hostile environments. For the next several days, the pattern continued. The architects presented increasingly difficult challenges. They tested human ability to modify their bodies for different planets. They presented complex scenarios about artificial intelligence becoming too powerful. They challenged humanity to manage resources across multiple worlds efficiently. They created simulated conflicts between human colonies and demanded solutions. Each time, just when human experts reached their limits, anonymous help would appear. Research files, technical documents, strategic papers, always uploaded by users. With no real identity, always containing exactly the information needed to pass each test, Jake realized what was happening. The woman who didn't exist wasn't just helping humanity pass these tests. She had been preparing them for decades, slowly introducing the technologies and ideas they would need. Every breakthrough she had quietly provided, every crisis she had helped solve had been building toward this moment. But Jake also noticed something troubling. With each test they passed, Coordinator Zephnin seemed more surprised and less pleased. Other architect representatives began appearing in the transmissions, and they looked worried, Lisa, Jake said quietly, during a break between tests. I think passing these tests perfectly might not be what the architects expected. What do you mean? Think about it. Said 67% of species achieve basic competency. We're not just achieving basic competency, we're exceeding every expectation. That might not be a good thing. Lisa looked at the alien ships still hanging motionless at the edge of their solar system. You think they're starting to see us as a threat instead of potential members? Jake nodded. I think our mysterious helper knows that too. This isn't just about passing their tests anymore. This is about something much bigger. The final test was coming, and Jake had a feeling it would determine not just whether humanity joined the galaxy, but whether humanity would be allowed to survive at all. Jake Morrison stood in the command center watching the 12 alien ships. 7 days had passed since the architects began testing humanity. Each test had been harder than the last, but humans had passed them all perfectly. Too perfectly, Jake thought. The aliens were no longer hiding their concern. Coordinator F9 appeared on the main screen. This time, 5 other alien representatives stood behind him. They all looked different, some tall, some short, some with fur, others with scales. But they all had the same worried expression. Humans, Zeph9 said, you have completed the standard evaluation protocols with unprecedented success. This requires us to implement the final assessment. Admiral Cooper stepped forward. What kind of final assessment? A moral evaluation. This test has destroyed more species than all others combined. We'll present you with an impossible choice. Your response will determine your species' fate. The screen changed to show a star map. 2 solar systems were highlighted in red. These are the Crinarian, the Veltani systems, Zephnin explained. Both species are younger than yours. Both are about to face extinction from natural disasters. You have the technology to save one system, but not both. Choose which species lives and which dies. Jake felt his blood turn cold. Admiral Cooper looked shocked. You want us to decide which entire species dies? This is the test, Zeph9 said. Every species faces this choice. Those who choose quickly and decisively are allowed to join the coalition as productive members. Those who refuse to choose are eliminated as too weak for galactic civilization. Those who waste time trying to find impossible solutions are eliminated as dangerous idealists. Dr. Phillips whispered to Jake. It's a trap. There's no right answer. Admiral Cooper asked, how long do we have to decide? 1 local hour. Choose now, or all 3 species die. The screen went black. The command center erupted in arguments. Some officers said they should choose quickly to save at least one species. Others said they couldn't murder an entire world. Admiral Cooper tried to keep order, but everyone was shouting. Jake stepped away from the chaos and looked out the window at Earth. After everything they had been through, after all the mysterious help they had received, it would end like this, with humanity being forced to become killers or die themselves. Then he noticed something. A figure was standing in the observation deck behind him. A young woman with brown hair wearing a simple gray uniform. She looked exactly like the mysterious student from the academy, Jake said quietly. The woman turned toward him. Her eyes were old and sad, much older than her face. Hello, Jake. My name is Elena Cross. Elena Cross. That's your real name? Yes, and I need to tell you something important before the hour runs out. The choice they gave you is a lie. She felt hope for the first time in hours. What do you mean? Lena walked closer to the window. I am the last survivor of a species that faced this exact test 200 years ago. My people were called the Tyranni. We lived in a system 40 light years from here. What happened to them? We chose, Elena said simply. The architects gave us the same test. Save one species, let another die, Alitas decided quickly. They chose to save the Crinari and let the Veltani die. Jake stared at her. But you said that was the right choice. The architect said species who choose quickly get to join the coalition. Alina smiled, but it was not a happy smile. That's what they told us too, and they kept their promise. My species was allowed to join the coalition. We got access to their technology and their trade networks. We became part of galactic civilization. Then why are you the last survivor? 'Cause joining the coalition as killers poisoned our souls, Alina said. Within 50 years, my species had become cold and cruel. We had learned that survival meant choosing who lived and who died. We lost our compassion, our creativity, our hope. We became exactly like the architects, advanced but empty. Understood, and your species died out. Yes, not from war or disease or disaster. We died from becoming something we didn't want to be. I am the last tyranny because I left before the poison completely took over. Lena turned to face the command center, where the arguments were still going on. For centuries, I have watched other species face this test. Some choose quickly and join the coalition as cold servants. Others refuse to choose and get eliminated immediately. A few try to find creative solutions and get eliminated as threats. But none have passed. None have passed the real test. Alina said. The architects don't want new equals. They want new servants or new victims. The test is designed to make sure that any species joining them has already given up their principles. Jake felt anger building inside him. So what can we do? If we choose, we become killers. If we don't choose, we die. If we try to find another way, we die. Elena smiled. And this time, it was a real smile. That's exactly the right question. Jake, what you can do is refuse the test itself. What do you mean? The architects expect you to accept their rules. They expect you to believe that saving one species requires killing another. But what if that's not true? What if the disasters threatening both systems can be prevented instead of just escaped? Jake's eyes widened. You've been preparing us for this. Yes. Every technology I helped humanity develop, every crisis I helped you solve, every breakthrough I quietly provided, it was all preparing you for this moment. You have the knowledge to save both species without choosing between them. Alina pulled out a small device. This contains the complete solution. How to prevent the disasters, how to save both systems, and how to expose the architect's test as the cruel lie it really is. But they'll eliminate us for not following their rules, Alina said. They'll be forced to admit that their test is immoral. And that's when the real coalition members will finally have someone strong enough to stand with them against the architect's tyranny. Jake took the device. Real coalition members? The architects aren't the good guys, Jake. They're the bullies who took over the galaxy by forcing this choice on everyone. But there are species who remember what they used to be before they were broken. They've been waiting for someone strong enough to say no. Jake ran back to the command center. Admiral Cooper. I have the answer. Cooper looked up from the arguing officers. What kind of answer? We don't choose. We save both species and refuse to play their game. Jake connected Elena's device to the main computer. Technical specifications flooded the screen's plans for preventing stellar collapse, methods for redirecting asteroid impacts, technologies for atmospheric repair, everything needed to save both threatened systems. Admiral Cooper studied the plans. This is incredible. But the architects said we only had an hour. Then we better move fast, Jake said. Turned to address the entire command center. Attention. Everyone, we're not choosing which species dies today. We're saving them both and showing these architects that humanity doesn't accept false choices. For the next 40 minutes, human engineers worked frantically to implement Elena's solutions. Ships launched toward both threatened systems carrying the technology needed to prevent the disasters. With 10 minutes to spare, both species were saved. Coordinator Zephnin appeared on the screen again. Behind him, the other architect representatives looked angry and confused. Humans, Zephnin said slowly, you have violated the test protocols. This requires immediate elimination. But before he could continue, the screen changed. A new alien appeared, one that looked different from the architects. Behind this alien, Jay could see representatives of dozens of other species. coordinator. Zeph9, the new alien, said, "This is Commander Rylox of the True Coalition. We formally challenge your authority under the old accords. The humans have proven themselves worthy of real membership by refusing your immoral test." Jake watched as chaos erupted among the architect ships. Some moved to attack positions, but others broke away and joined the new fleet that was arriving. Elena Cross appeared beside Jake one final time. "This is what I've been working toward for 200 years, she said. "A species strong enough to break the cycle and restore real justice to the galaxy." "What happens now?" Jake asked. "Now, humanity takes its place among the truly free species of the galaxy, and I can finally rest, knowing my people's sacrifice meant something." Lena smiled as she faded away, her centuries-long mission finally complete. She had passed every test, existed everywhere and nowhere, all to give humanity the chance to choose hope over fear, compassion over survival, and justice over acceptance. Humanity had passed the real test. It's not by choosing who lived or died, but by refusing to accept that such choices were necessary at all.